Shortly before 2 p.m. on August 28, 2003, William A. Rothstein, Marjorie Deal Armstrong's former fiancé, calls Mamma Mia's Pizzeria at 5154 Peach Street. Around 2 p.m., Tony DiTomo answers a phone at Mamma Mia's. DiTomo, the owner, has a hard time understanding the deep-voiced caller. He passes the receiver to Brian Wells, age 46. Wells takes down an order for 2 small pepperoni and sausage pizzas. He drives his green Chevy Geo Metro to deliver the pizzas to 8631 Peach Street. There he meets friends Rothstein, Deal Armstrong, Kenneth Barnes, who Wells knew through a crack-addicted prostitute. Wells leaves the site wearing a collar bomb. Rothstein follows him in his yellow-colored Mercury Marquise. According to Barnes' testimony in federal court, after Wells delivers pizzas to the site, he finds a collar bomb is real and changes his mind about wanting to participate in the bank robbery. Around 2:38 p.m., Wells walks into the PNC Bank in Summit Town Center wearing a bomb locked to his neck and carrying a cane-shaped gun. He waits patiently in line before handing a teller a note that says he wants $250,000. Within 10 minutes, the troopers converge on Wells, whose car is pulled over in the driveway of Eyeglass World at 7200 Peach Street.
He had to go first when he robbed the bank, get out of the bank, go over to the flower bed in the McDonald's, turn over a stone, receive some notes there. Then he was to come around the Eyeglass World, which he was in the process of doing when he was arrested, get out of the car, tie an orange ribbon around the fire hydrant, indicating that he had gotten the money from the bank. He then was to get back in the car and go to the exit 180 sign of Kearsarge off of I-79, go into the woods there, get some more notes. Then he was to get back on Interchange Road, go south on 79, get off at the McCain Township sign, and receive more notes. And it was in the process of that he would have expired after the device detonated.
Troopers order Wells to get out of the car and handcuff him. They then discover he has a bomb strapped to him under a t-shirt that says "Guess" for the brand of jeans.
When I arrived on scene, Mr. Wells, who had just robbed the PNC Bank, went in, asked for $250,000, left with a significantly less amount of money, $2,807, was under arrest and was in discussion with the Pennsylvania State Police about who he was and what he was doing. And what he said was he was a pizza delivery driver, was forced to go to a tower site to deliver pizzas, and then was forced to wear a collar to go rob the bank.
Wells speaks to troopers surrounding him. "This isn't me," he says. "Did you call my boss?"
The whole crux of the case, though, quite honestly, was for Marjorie Deal Armstrong, who came up with the idea to rob the bank, to get money, to pay Ken Barnes, to kill her father, to get a large inheritance that she had coming to her.
Around 3:04 p.m., the Erie Bureau of Police gets a call from a state trooper asking for Bureau's bomb squad to respond. At 3:18 p.m., the bomb Wells is wearing explodes as he sits on the pavement near his car.
That direction, the man was sitting there as he was since about 3 o'clock when all of a sudden a loud explosion and he flipped onto his back and the state police troopers scrambled. They're still holding guns on him, as you can see. They're still not exactly sure his condition. It is apparent that he did have a bomb and he detonated it in front of the state troopers and the FBI agents that have been here since this standoff started about a half an hour ago.
Investigators find a lengthy note in Wells' car, apparently written by whoever fastened the bomb to his neck.
One of the notes in the bank, you don't even know, was written just to the police, saying it took us 7.5 years to put this together. You're not going to solve this in an hour.
At 3:21, the Erie bomb squad arrives at the scene. The night of August 28th and into August 29th, The FBI forms a task force along with the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, as well as state and local police. Investigators conduct their first full searches of the television transmission tower site, Wells' rented house in the 2400 block of Loveland Avenue in Mill Creek Township.
3 weeks later, an individual named Bill Rothstein contacts the Pennsylvania State Police, said he's driving around Erie, he's going to kill himself, he's got a gun in his van, and he also needed to tell us he's got a dead body in the freezer in his garage, and that Marjorie Deal Armstrong killed him. The body in the freezer turned out to be the boyfriend of Marjorie Deal Armstrong. And her boyfriend also had a role in this case initially. And his role was to participate in the bank robbery. Well, prior to the bank robbery happening, they got in an argument. And he said, I'm going to go to the authorities and tell them about that bank robbery you're going to do. And that's something Marjorie Deal Armstrong doesn't take kindly to. And she killed him with 2 shotgun shots to the back while he laid in bed. So in order to dispose of the body, Marjorie Deal Armstrong contacted Bill Rothstein, whose house the body ended up in the freezer, and he came to clean up all the evidence from her house, brought it over to his house, bought a freezer, put him in the freezer, the guy that was shot, and their plan was, once that body was frozen, to cut it up into pieces, put it in an ice chipper, and then chip it into pieces and distribute it all throughout the county so there'd be no evidence in the case. If you ever find a group of people like-minded enough to want to do a plot like this, it just had never happened. And they called themselves the fractured intellectuals, meaning they were really, really bright, but they couldn't get along with anybody other than their own social group.
He's a filthy liar.
What do you have to say about Rothstein?
Rothstein should be charged with the murder of Brian Wells and a lot of other charges, and he got a fugitive from justice, a rapist that I turned into the FBI in his house for 2 years.
He says you committed the murder.
Rothstein is a filthy liar.
Ken, did you do it? No?
Did you make the bomb?
Marjorie said you did. Did you make the bomb?
No.
When you were watching across the street, did you know that Brian Wells was going to die?
Why'd you decide to waive,
Well, there were 7 total people involved in this case. 4 are now dead. Okay? 3 are still alive. 2 were charged. So that leaves 1 that's still out there. And that person, we know who he is. He actually received a level of immunity from the United States Attorney's Office and was supposed to testify at trial of his involvement. So greed, power, and a group of diabolical characters put together one of the most maniacal plots in criminal history.